myself. We had one for AIDS patients that was fill in the blank. We sent them to the AIDS organizations. They bombarded George Bush Sr. with thousands of protocols. George Bush Sr. running for re-election against Clinton. So the government says, we haven't had studies. Well, gee, my doctor sends a report in every 6 months. Have they ever studied me? No. Because the feds don't want to know, because of the main lobby organization, the pharmaceutical industry, the petrochemical companies, the lumber industry, which you've heard about tonight, the prison industry, they don't want to see laws change, because it would hurt their bottom line. As you heard, 80% of the U.S. population is in favor of medical cannabis. Well, then 80% should pass. Why aren't politicians passing it? If tomorrow it became legal, monetarily that 80% would make nothing out of it. But if that became legal, the 20% would lose everything. That's why the politicians are against it. Now again, I say here, I'm living proof, and I am. Now, as you heard, I handle money on a basis, an everyday basis. I'm a stockbroker here in Northwest Florida. And I do that smoking 10 to 12 cannabis cigarettes a day. I get no euphoric effect. Never have. As far as I'm concerned, it's pure garbage as far as that's concerned. A lot of patients don't get euphoric. And the most important thing about cannabis, and I want to tell you all of you, is it does no harm. Cannabis is not going to harm any of you. Okay? That's simple. The worst it's going to do is if it gives you a detrimental effect, it's going to put you to sleep. That's what it's going to do. Okay? And that's all there is. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into, because y'all synagogue, I had people that knew me since my grist. And here I was now, 30 years old, 33 years old, they'd come to me and go, I'm going through chemotherapy. Where do I get the marijuana? Can you get me some? Can you give me some of yours? Well, DEA would love for me to give them some of mine. This way they can take me off the program. I'm the biggest thorn in the government's butt. So it's just so sad when these people who I've respected all my life come to me and they're dying. And all I can do is try to change the laws. That's all I can do to help them. So what I suggest these people to y'all is, if you do decide to use it, do it with somebody who knows what they're doing. Use very little of it. You take a few puffs. That's what you would do. And see what it does. See if it alleviates your problem. If it doesn't, take a few more, 10 minutes later. And understand that, God forbid, if you end up taking too much, it's not going to harm you. It's not going to interact with any of your other drugs. In fact, it's going to enhance the use of your other drugs that you're taking to where you don't have to take as much, and if possibly even cut them out altogether. So here we have a plant that you don't have to go to a pharmaceutical industry to buy. Now, I don't know about y'all. Some of y'all might grow your own vegetables. Well, wouldn't it be nice when you grow your own vegetables, you grow your own medicine? It wouldn't cost you anything. And that's what we need to do. That's what we need to bring down to the population. To make them realize that, number one, it's not this theory people make it up to be. Okay, if anybody says that it is, you say, hey, wait a minute, I saw Irvin. Irvin's been doing it for 29 years from the federal government, 41 years overall. My lungs are 108% normal. They say it causes cancer. It doesn't cause cancer. Studies have showed that. They said it does this. It doesn't do any of those negative aspects. I also teach every Saturday. Again, People tell me I should go to shul in the morning, but I don't. But I teach every Saturday afternoon mentally and physically and economically challenged children and adults how to sail adaptive sailboats in Coconut Grove in Miami with an organization called Shake It. So I'm able to take out disabled kids, autistic, paraplegic, spinal bifida, muscular dystrophy, you name the disorder. You name wounded warriors. I'm able to do all that because I have the right medicine. If I didn't have the right medicine, most likely, if I was still alive, I'd be a homebound patient. I wouldn't be an active member of society. And that's not what I want to be. And I think about it as a taxpayer. We're paying a lot of money every day for people with disability. I would be one of them if I didn't have the right medicine, if I didn't have this medicine. How many people are on disability today because they don't have the right medicine? They're doped up on different narcotics. And I took morphine for 19 years. Okay, I never got an addicting effect because I needed the medicine. And that's true with most medicines. If you really have a need for the substance, you're not going to get the euphoria. It's going to go to where it has to go. With me, I say I don't get the euphoria because our body needs it. Scientists say we have millions of cannabinoid receptors in our body, which they've discovered. And medical schools still aren't teaching it yet, but they've discovered this. They think mine are defective. That I'm not getting the euphoria, but I'm getting the medical aspect. As Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, who's the grandfather of all this, he said, it doesn't matter why it works as long as it works. And that's what I say too. Now, I'm a member of an organization called Patients at a Time. We're the only organization in the United States that is sanctioned by the American Medical Association to teach doctors about medical cannabis, to where they get continuing education credit. My organization, Patients at a Time, is the only organization in the United States that's sanctioned by the ANA, the American Nurses Association, to teach nurses about medical cannabis, to where they get continuing education. My organization, Patients at a Time, got the Veterans Administration to come out in favor of medical cannabis. If you are a veteran in this country, and you are using cannabis for whatever reason, and you're using, say, opiates for your pain or whatever, and if you test positive for metabolites in a VA hospital, if there's a law in your state that allows you to use it, then that's okay, you can use it. But if you're in the state of Florida, with 33 of the other states where it's not legal, and if you test positive for opiates or for metabolites of cannabis, then they can withhold treatment. They can stop treating veterans. So what you need to do to your politicians, besides telling them, hey, we need to change laws for medical cannabis, what you need to say to those politicians is, let me ask you a question, Mr. Politician. Why are you against our veterans? And they're going to say, we're not against veterans. And then you're going to point out what the VA says. So these are ammunitions that y'all are to learn. Okay, I mean, I've got a book, and again, part of the proceeds goes to Silver Tour. But these are things, they all new at all this. And so what y'all need to do is understand that the story that the government makes out to be is not true. I'm living proof that it's not. If anybody comes to you and says it's not a medicine, remember me, remember the AMA sanctions, the ANA, they wouldn't sanction us if it wasn't a medicine. So please go out, contact your fellow senior citizens, and let them know that they need to contact other senior citizens, you need to contact your politicians, you need to contact your doctors, and get them knowledge to them, and let's get this all changed so we can have everybody. Thank you.
You know, Jews say next year in Jerusalem. I say next year legalize. And we will. You're going to get a couple of minutes to meet the man who put the first bill in the House of Representatives. In a few minutes, Jeff. Charlie Stroud put up $5,000 to put up that billboard and that billboard on Sample Road. It's paid off incredible dividends. I've had calls from all over the country. We had news coverage in the national news media from one end of the country to the other. I've had thousands of emails come into the Silver Tour thanking me for putting up those billboards. Here's the man who put it up, a cannabis patient, a truck driver from Pennsylvania, and a really nice guy, Charlie Stroud.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Educational Conference in the Silver Tour. My name is Charles Stroud. I've been driving trucks for 35 years, working my tail end off, compiled some injuries, and for the past 5 years I've been in and out of rehab clinics. What led me to this issue was seeing some of my relatives who had diseases, cancer, Alzheimer's and such, and reading up a little bit with educational material, I was finding out that medical cannabis, medical marijuana can help my relatives. So I basically started getting interested in medicinal marijuana aspects of it, and then I moved to Florida, and what really lit the passion underneath me to do something in regards to these billboards was seeing our veterans in medical hospitals, veterans hospitals, who had their legs blown off, their arms blown off, and I do get emotional about this, so do forgive me, in the campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq, and coming back here to the United States, getting rehab and getting treatment. And when somebody's treatments doesn't work and have an effect on them, some of the medications doesn't have an effect, and they're recommended medical cannabis, ladies and gentlemen, they're able to use medical cannabis in the 16 states that have allowed usage in the Veterans Hospital. And I found something very wrong with the fact that we're still treating veterans who lost their legs and arms and gave so much, these honorable men and women, that they sacrificed everything at a young age, and now they're going to be looked upon like criminals, and that lit the fire underneath me, and I had to do something. I got in touch with CBS Outdoor, and thanks to a man named executive accountant named Nestor Morales, they negotiated for several weeks to get these billboards approved that we put up on Sample Road. I ran into Mr. Robert Planshore, and I was going to put these billboards up, and he had some recommendations, and thanks to his influence and input, they became compact and compelling messages that all Floridians who see them are giving a positive response to, and also across the nation. People are giving us great feedback on these great messages that put out some good information. Now, does medical marijuana work? Well, yes, in a nutshell, but don't take my word for it. Just look at what the DEA Chief Administrative Law Judge said. He had a 2-year study, which he concluded along with his colleagues after that 2-year research study was over, that it was the safest